joined by Jordan Castaldo from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Jordan, I know you said that this is going to be your final year in the Intercounty Baseball League, so I kind of wanted to reflect on what your baseball career has been. I know it's been a long time for you, 28 years playing this game of baseball. I want to go back to where it all started, though. What got you into playing baseball as a youngster?
Oh, wow. Really, there were two main things that got me into baseball. That was I'm a 1989 birthday, so by the time I was of any sort of comprehension, it was a 1993 Blue Jays World Series tape that constantly got played in the basement. And then just playing catch with my dad. Honestly, he would just he got me involved in baseball. He put my first glove on my hand. We would just play in the front yard. Just all evening long. I mean, that was really it. We used to have a cottage. We used to play up there, and it was just it was what I always wanted to do, and then that's my dad's fault.
You made it quite far in your baseball career. You made it to playing college baseball, which I know is something that the very low percentage of baseball players can say. What was it like making it to college baseball and playing for Arkansas?
It was when I kind of reflect on it, it was quite the journey, but it was such a fun journey. I mean, I made lifelong friends from so many of the teams that I played on to this day. Guys I played with when I was 8. Guys I started playing against when I was 12 and 13, and joined the same elite program, the same Ontario Blue Jay team, and carried our friendships all the way through. There's still a lot of close friends to this day. And then really just kind of going through the process, it was just, for me, it was just playing baseball and having fun. I knew kind of in my 17, 18 year there would be maybe the opportunity. And certainly when you started going away to tournaments, you started seeing, coaches with the jackets and the logos of the schools on them and so on and so forth. So, but I tried never to pay too much attention to them. I kind of learned my lesson the hard way through hockey. I just tried to stay away from thinking about it too much and just try to enjoy it and just enjoyed being around the guys and being young men and going to all these away tournaments. And then we were down there in Florida for a perfect game tournament, and that's when my first school happened. And then I really just kind of took it as stepping stones. I didn't think it was any dramatic step. I mean, I think I had come to know myself, my capabilities. Growing up through high school, I kind of knew what I expected of myself. So I always had confidence going in. Of course, it was a different experience and culture shock where you end up. A lot of us, guys end up at junior colleges first, small little towns. Quite different than growing up in Toronto. So culture shock and all that. But it was for me. I'm pretty adaptable, so it was adapting to those environments was a lot of fun, and getting to know it was really just about the relationships, and again the baseball and the level I was playing is kind of secondary.
When you talk about the opportunity coming out of baseball, a lot of people want to play college baseball and then get drafted into Major League Baseball. That didn't happen for you, but I feel like it was maybe fate to come and do what you did here in the Intercounty Baseball League, with winning 6 championships in a row with the Barrie Bay Cats, and then spending 2 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs, going to the finals for the next couple times. Do you regret not having a shot at the MLB draft, knowing what went on to happen over the next couple of years with what you did in the Intercounty Baseball League?
That's the first time I've ever been asked a question like that. But you know what? I didn't necessarily project to be I didn't necessarily have a big league tool. So, my hopes were that I would have a good enough season that I would impress at least one person and get a shot. I had a little bit of a shot later on with, I worked with, this Arizona Diamondback scout up here. Got invited to a professional tryout down there. Great tryout, and then, long story short, kind of got catapulted into indie ball, and, was in Schaumburg in the Frontier League for about 3 weeks and got released, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to give it my one shot. I was happy with that. And at that point, I kind of understood that I had made it to a pretty high level, and you know what I guess I had to realize, I was aware of how difficult it would be, and I was aware of the percentages of what it's like to get to the major league. So at that point, I just wanted to kind of start my life or move in the direction that I wanted to go. I knew I had to go back to school, so I went back to school, and then yeah, like you said, I ended up playing in this league for all these years, and I try to tell some of these young guys. I mean, we're lucky to have a league like this in which we can play in. I mean, I'm 34 years old now, and I have no idea what I'm doing seeing 95 miles an hour in this league right now. So the league's up. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a challenge. Obviously I'm trying to adapt to this level of baseball. This feels different this year. But again, to get back to your question, I have no regrets. I have so many good memories along the way, even when I was here the first time around. Before I got traded to Barrie, a lot of good memories with a lot of those older guys who kind of mentored me, and as a matter of fact, I just repeated what one of those guys said to me, in the fact that we were lucky to have a league like this to play in. So, it was, the time in Barrie speaks for itself. I think I've been on record so many times saying it was the camaraderie of that group.
Yeah.
So many good memories. Obviously, the heartbreak at first with losing to Brantford in 13, and then obviously the 6 consecutive. And I don't need to get into details about that. It's quite the experience when you win a championship in this league. We got to do it 6 times with a great group, and then obviously coming back here and just playing again with some friends that I've known since high school, right? So, and just been a blast, and we've been so close the last couple of years. So, do I regret any of it? Absolutely not. I think this is kind of, this is how it worked out, and I'm still doing it because I enjoy it, and you know what? At the end of the day, I have absolutely no regrets how things turned out.
So there have been ups and downs in your baseball career. I can think of times winning championships. I can think of times when you had really tough injuries in the playoffs, maybe like a couple of years ago with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I think it's fair to say over these last, 28 years of you playing baseball that it's been a massive part of your life. What has baseball taught you, maybe like going away from the sports side, but what has baseball taught you about yourself, and how has it changed you as a person?
I mean, this is such a humbling game. I think any baseball player will say that. First and foremost, it taught me humility. I try to be as humble as I possibly can at all times. But there's been so many moments where there were challenges, and it may not have been directly related to baseball, but it was more the fact that I was on the baseball team, and I'm referring to all those moments where you had to get through 6 a.m. running in college, or things that you don't necessarily love to do. So it definitely taught me grit, determination, resiliency, teamwork and leadership, and all these skills you can rhyme off that have been totally translatable to my personal life. So this is if you want a lifelong lesson in life lessons, then this is a sport you need to play.
What would you say to maybe some of the younger guys on the Toronto Maple Leafs that, some of them actually did get drafted into Major League Baseball, but a lot of guys that come to this league have played professional and now they're playing here. So maybe they didn't get to the original goal that they started with. What would you say to them, and can you still have a very prosperous baseball career even if you don't get drafted into Major League Baseball?
Yeah, of course. You can definitely have a prosperous career, and maybe not in the financial sense with this, right? But you can certainly have a prosperous and joyous career, and you can have a lot of fun doing it. You can make a lot of friends along the way. As far as the younger guys who are in and out of pro ball, I kind of just explained to them my story, and then I had the opportunity, albeit not the one I necessarily wanted, but I chased it, I went after it, and I knew that if I went after it, I wouldn't have any regrets of how things turned out. And so that's really the approach I take with a lot of these guys, and that's what I tell them, because I don't want them to regret it, right? That old adage of kind of giving it everything you have, right? So I tell them to chase it. That if they're here, and it'd be nice to have them here. Like for example, Sam Green at the start of the year when he had his opportunity with one of the teams in Quebec.
Yeah.
And I said, Sam, go do it, man. Give it your best, because you never know what might happen. Because there are, some crazy stories of guys, never been drafted, played indie ball, got signed, and next thing you know, they're in the big leagues. I think Daniel Nava's one of those guys. But
yep.
I mean, you never know in this game. You only have to impress one person every time. So I tell them to chase it, and I tell them to do what is going to make them happy. And oftentimes this league is looked at as a step below those ones. So of course, the idea is to continue to play at the highest level. And if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't, then you're more than welcome to come back here and continue playing. If you love, you really have to love the game to play in this league, right? And I think, right now we have a locker room of guys who love this game. So, if your heart's not into it, you can't just show up here and be successful. This league is tough now, really tough. And, I just tell them to have fun and enjoy it.
You've been to a lot of IBL finals in the last couple of years, actually. I don't remember the last time you weren't in an IBL finals. And there's a lot of guys in that locker room, like you said, that would like to get there as well. You've said this is going to be your last year in the Intercounty Baseball League. What would it mean to win a championship? Do you need to win a championship to retire here in the Intercounty Baseball League?
So I don't need a championship to retire. But I can tell you this, if we won a championship, it would be the greatest championship of my career. I could already tell you that. Just with, the nature of this team, the fan base, the tradition, the name. That would be something special. I think kind of what it is too is, I remember seeing a video of when the last time these guys won it here. I think that was 2007. So. I remember seeing a video, seeing pictures of what the pits looked like that night. And I know we've been close, but we haven't had the opportunity to play, a game where we're going to eliminate the other team at home. It would be special. It would be so special because the whole reason why I keep come back the last few years is to try to get those guys who are some of my lifelong friends in there. Try to get those, be a part of getting them a ring and having them experience it at least once, because like I said earlier, I got to experience 6 of them, and it was a whole lot of fun. And it's memories that you'll have forever. So it would certainly be the best. I guess I got to circle back on that comment. All 6 of those championships in Barrie were super special, and this one would be right there with them all.
Well, Jordan, thanks for doing this. I know there's a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs fans that are very excited to see how your story ends and how this season unfolds as well. So thanks a lot.
I appreciate it, man.